The city glowed softly that evening, streetlights humming like they always did, ordinary and unbothered. Daniel kept one hand on the steering wheel and the other resting near the gearshift, listening half-heartedly as Laura spoke excitedly about venues and guest lists. She was smiling, glowing with certainty, the kind of certainty he admired and leaned on after years of raising his son alone. "Can you believe it?" Laura said warmly. "In 3 months, this will all feel like a different life." Daniel smiled politely, but his mind was tired. Life had already changed him enough. Being a single father had carved deep lines into his soul, lines of responsibility, quiet sacrifice, and unspoken fear of losing the little stability he'd fought so hard to build. The traffic light turned red. He slowed the car. That's when time fractured. Across the crosswalk, a woman stepped forward, her coat worn, her posture familiar in a way that sent a sharp ache through his chest. Her hair was shorter than he remembered, her face thinner, but there was no mistaking her. Emily, his ex, the woman who vanished from his life 8 years ago with no goodbye, no explanation, only a note that said, "I can't do this anymore." Daniel's hands tightened around the steering wheel, but it was the children who made his heart slam against his ribs. 2 small twins, a boy and a girl, each holding one of Emily's hands. Same dark eyes, same dimple on the left cheek, same hesitant way of walking, like they were careful not to fall. They looked just like him. His breath caught, his vision blurred, the noise of the city faded as if the world itself had gone quiet to watch his life unravel. Laura noticed his silence. "Daniel," she asked gently, "are you okay?" He couldn't answer. Emily looked up, their eyes met, shock rippled across her face, followed by something heavier, fear, guilt, and a pain so deep it looked practiced. The light stayed red, cars honked behind him, life demanded movement, but Daniel couldn't move at all. Emily hurried the twins across, her head lowered, but not before the little boy looked directly at Daniel and waved innocently. Something inside Daniel broke open. When the light turned green, Daniel didn't drive. "I need a minute," he said, his voice barely steady. Laura frowned. "What's wrong?" "That woman," he whispered. "She's someone I used to love." Laura turned, searching the sidewalk, but Emily was already gone, swallowed by the crowd. The rest of the drive passed in silence. When Daniel dropped Laura off at her apartment, she leaned in, concern written across her face. "We'll talk about this tomorrow, okay?" He nodded, but he already knew tomorrow would never be the same. That night, Daniel sat awake long after his son fell asleep, staring at the ceiling, replaying the image of those twins again and again. If he did the math, they were 8. The same year Emily disappeared. And suddenly, the questions he'd buried came roaring back, louder than ever. He thought losing her once nearly destroyed him, but discovering she'd hidden his children would force him to choose between the future he planned and the truth his heart could no longer ignore. Daniel didn't go to work the next day. Instead, he drove the streets near the crosswalk, searching faces like a man chasing a ghost. Hours passed before he saw her again, Emily, sitting on a bus stop bench, the twins pressed against her sides, sharing a sandwich between them. He parked across the street, heart racing like a frightened drum. When he approached, Emily stood immediately, panic flashing across her eyes. "Daniel," she said softly, "I hoped I'd never run into you like this." "Like this?" His voice trembled despite his effort. "With my children." Her shoulders collapsed. They sat. The twins played, with pebbles at their feet while Emily spoke in a voice cracked by years of regret. She told him about the pregnancy. About fear. About being young, broke, and terrified that she would ruin his future. She told him she watched him struggle as a single dad later from afar and convinced herself she'd made the right choice, even when every night hurt. "I wasn't strong," she whispered. "I thought disappearing was love." Daniel didn't shout. He didn't accuse. He just cried, not loudly, but in the quiet, broken way of a man realizing how much of his life was stolen from him. Laura called that evening. Daniel told her everything. There was silence on the line, then a soft, heartbreaking truth. "You're already gone," she said gently. "Your heart found them before your words did." They ended things with dignity, but loss still burned. Weeks turned into months. Daniel learned how to be present, not perfect. He learned their favorite foods, their fears, their laughter. His son learned he wasn't losing a father, he was gaining siblings. Emily didn't ask for forgiveness. She earned trust slowly, painfully. One evening, as they all crossed that same crosswalk together, Daniel held each twin's hand. The light turned green. This time, he stepped forward. Not toward the future he once planned, but toward the life he was always meant to live.